During the most challenging periods of World War II, a formidable adversary emerged to confront the German Luftwaffe, a fighter aircraft so intimidating that it became a source of dread for Nazi pilots. This formidable opponent was the Lockheed P-38, commonly referred to as the Lightning. With its unique twin-boom design and powerful engines, the Lightning was not only visually striking but also a legendary presence among military aircraft. Its engines delivered exceptional power and agility, enabling it to outpace and outmaneuver the German Luftwaffe. From the arid landscapes of North Africa to the expansive skies over Europe, the P-38 Lightning instilled fear in the Luftwaffe. Its pilots, known for their skill and bravery, quickly earned a reputation for their audacity and effectiveness in combat. This narrative chronicles the Lockheed P-38 and its remarkable feats on the battlefield. Following the Wall Street crash of 1929, the United States plunged into an unprecedented economic recession, the effects of which rippled through neighboring countries reliant on American prosperity. Japan, heavily dependent on foreign trade, faced severe economic challenges. In response, nationalist factions emerged, and the nation turned its focus toward the colonization of neighboring territories to alleviate its economic woes. As Japan expanded its influence, a rivalry with the United States developed, fueled by conflicting economic and commercial interests in Asia. With tensions escalating in both Japan and Germany, the United States recognized that an outright conflict was imminent and understood the necessity of preparing for any eventuality, particularly as the Japanese Air Force began to strengthen. The force showcased a fleet of advanced mono fighters that significantly contributed to their aggressive expansion across the Asian continent. In contrast, America was equipped with a fleet of obsolete biplanes that were ill-equipped to compete with the Japanese Air Force. Recognizing the urgent need for modernization, the United States Air Corps issued a proposal in February 1937, soliciting design concepts for advanced interceptor aircraft. The objective was to develop models capable of engaging effectively with both the German and Japanese fleets, ideally surpassing them. The specifications were explicit. The aircraft needed to achieve speeds of 400 miles per hour and operate at altitudes of 20,000 feet or higher, which was 100 miles per hour faster than any existing aircraft at that time. Additionally, the design called for armament consisting of 20mm cannons and the ability to execute aerial maneuvers that were unparalleled. This was a formidable challenge, and even within the U.S. Air Corps, there were doubts about the feasibility of such a design. 6 contractors submitted proposals, but only one was deemed viable, a blueprint from Clarence Kelly Johnson, a senior designer at Lockheed. Unlike his competitors, Kelly understood that the ambitious specifications could not be accommodated within a single-engine aircraft, prompting him to focus on a twin-engine design. After addressing the twin-engine challenge, he faced numerous configuration issues, ultimately discarding his initial designs. He opted for a twin-boom structure to house the engines, positioning the pilot centrally, with machine guns mounted at the nose and superchargers located at the rear of the aircraft. The design was unconventional and remarkably radical, which was precisely what the United States military required at that time. Johnson's innovative approach impressed the executives, leading to the awarding of a contract for an experimental prototype in June 1937. The prototype, designated XP-38, entered production, although the production team encountered numerous challenges initially due to the intricate nature of the advanced design. Despite these difficulties, they successfully completed the prototype by December 1938. During its test flight, the aircraft operated for 35 minutes, exceeding all expectations. The test was a significant success, but the efforts did not conclude there. The U.S. Army Air Corps aimed to pursue the transcontinental speed record held by Howard Hughes. Lieutenant Benjamin Kels was tasked with flying the aircraft from California to New York as swiftly as possible. They arrived at the New York airfield 25 minutes ahead of Hughes. However, the March Field airspace in New York was unable to clear the runway in time for the XP-38's landing, necessitating several laps around the airspace. Unfortunately, during this time, the aircraft ran out of fuel and crashed into a golf course. Although the XP-38 was destroyed in the incident, it had demonstrated its capabilities. As Germany consolidated its power in Europe, it became evident that territorial expansion was imminent, especially with their alliance with Japan. Consequently, the United States Army ordered 66 Lockheed P-38s, marking the aircraft's entry into World War II. By 1939, both Britain and France, having observed its combat performance, also placed orders for 667 P-38s, although this time the aircraft were intended for different specifications. Lockheed engineers expressed strong objections to the decision to produce the aircraft without superchargers, anticipating severe repercussions for its performance. Unfortunately, the Royal Air Force disregarded these warnings, which ultimately proved detrimental. Once production of the modified P-38 commenced, it became evident that the aircraft was significantly inferior to its predecessor. The absence of superchargers resulted in a notable decrease in speed, maneuverability, and climbing ability. Consequently, the Royal Air Force cancelled its remaining orders for the aircraft. However, the challenges faced by the P-38 did not end there. The aircraft experienced issues with compressibility, which often caused the controls to lock during high-speed dives, forcing pilots to eject. Additionally, the twin-engine design posed risks. If one engine failed during takeoff or flight, the aircraft had a high likelihood of flipping over and crashing. Although the P-38 was designed for high speeds, which were intended to be an advantage, this feature became problematic for pilots accustomed to flying aircraft with speeds around 200 miles per hour. The P-38's capability to reach speeds of 400 miles per hour, combined with its powerful engines, left little margin for error in emergency situations. In response to these concerns, the Allison engines underwent a structural redesign to enhance flight stability. To restore confidence in the aircraft, Lockheed dispatched its chief test pilot to demonstrate the P-38 under various emergency scenarios. By December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, shifting the balance of power in the Pacific. In response, the United States decided to deploy its aircraft for combat, sending the P-38 to Britain while the older P-39 was assigned to the Pacific Theater. The aircraft faced several challenges in Europe, as it was required to operate at an altitude of 15,000 feet, significantly lower than its intended design specifications. This limitation resulted in some maneuverability issues for the pilots. However, the aircraft's formidable firepower compensated for these deficiencies. Due to its effectiveness in low-altitude combat, the Royal Air Force sought to adapt the P-38 for high-altitude roles, modifying 100 Lightning aircraft for photo reconnaissance missions. The original weaponry was removed and replaced with cameras, which posed significant risks for the pilots as they lacked defensive capabilities against German forces, leading to a low return rate of only 30%. Meanwhile, in the Pacific Theater, the P-39S struggled to engage the Japanese Mitsubishi A-6M fighters effectively. In response, the U.S. Air Corps introduced a new fleet of P-38s to counter the Mitsubishi aircraft. Despite facing a substantial number of Japanese fighters, the P-38 Lightning proved capable of holding its ground, marking the beginning of a shift in momentum. One of the P-38 Lightning's most significant achievements during World War II occurred in April 1943. Following a series of defeats, Japanese morale was waning. Admiral Yamamoto, the mastermind behind the Pearl Harbor attack, planned a visit to frontline bases. U.S. codebreakers intercepted and decoded this communication, enabling them to strategize an attack. They dispatched 16 P-38s to intercept the Japanese aircraft, successfully shooting down the admiral's plane along with his escort. This victory was a pivotal moment for the P-38 Lightning. The United States Air Corps began to counter the Japanese forces by deploying bomber aircraft aimed at destroying Japanese airfields. The only aircraft capable of providing the necessary range and firepower to escort these bombers was the P-38. Throughout much of August 1943, these pilots effectively engaged Japanese forces, achieving significant success. The pilots of the 475th Fighter Group managed to destroy over 50 enemy aircraft, while suffering only 3 losses of their own. This bombing campaign provided the U.S. forces with a strategic advantage, allowing them to advance on enemy positions without the threat of aerial assaults. Consequently, the Japanese forces were compelled to retreat, relinquishing the territory they had fought hard to capture. In early 1943, the Lockheed P-38 also gained considerable acclaim among British forces. During the protracted ground engagements against German troops in Tunisia, neither side made significant progress for several months. However, the introduction of the Lockheed P-38 by the Royal Air Force shifted the momentum of the battle. By April 1943, German troops began their withdrawal from North Africa, but not before the Allies captured over 260 German and Italian soldiers as prisoners of war. Some German soldiers surrendered upon witnessing the devastating firepower of the P-38, which they referred to as Jessentoll, meaning fork-tail devil. Following their victory in Tunisia, the Allies prepared for their next mission, which involved disrupting German supply lines. The British Navy had already obstructed access to German forces in North Africa by sealing off the Mediterranean Sea, leaving the enemy with limited options for resupply. The German army, in an effort to supply their troops, deployed a fleet of 500 transport planes. However, the Royal Air Force was prepared and dispatched 19 battle-tested P-38 aircraft to intercept the German transports. These Lightning planes utilized their superior climbing capabilities to reach altitudes above the transport fleet. Upon spotting the German aircraft, they would dive down to engage, systematically targeting and destroying the transport planes and their escorts. The Germans were caught off guard, and within a month, the Allies managed to shoot down over 400 escort and transport planes while incurring only 30 losses. This effective strategy significantly hindered the Germans' ability to deliver essential supplies to their ground forces, further diminishing their strength. Following their success in Tunisia and throughout North Africa, the Allies turned their attention to Sicily, which was intended to serve as a crucial stepping stone for the invasion of Italy. The objective of this operation, known as Operation Husky, was to establish air and land superiority over the Mediterranean, facilitating the movement of supplies across the sea. The P-38s were integral to this mission, with some assigned to escort Allied bombers targeting enemy airfields, shipping, and other strategic locations on the island. Additionally, the P-38s provided aerial support for ground troops, attacking enemy positions, vehicles, and personnel. A portion of the P-38s was also tasked with reconnaissance, gathering intelligence on enemy positions and defenses to relay back to the Allies' base of operations. The operation commenced with a significant amphibious landing on the southern coast. The Allied forces encountered anticipated resistance from German and Italian troops, however, they swiftly advanced inland. The mission proved successful, resulting in the Allies' control of Sicily, which compelled the Germans to retreat further. Additionally, the Italian government capitulated and aligned with the Allies, further diminishing the strength of the German coalition. The P-38 played a significant role in the Allies' success in Sicily, as its long-range and high-altitude capabilities made it an ideal aircraft for operations in the Mediterranean theater. It was particularly effective in escorting Allied bombers deep into enemy territory, providing essential cover and protection against hostile fire. Although the P-38 did not penetrate German territory during the war's final days, its contributions were instrumental in enabling Allied forces to reach that point. Over 10,000 P-38s were produced during the conflict, completing more than 130,000 missions. This aircraft downed more Japanese planes than any other fighter and reconnaissance aircraft, securing over 90% of the aerial film utilized in the war. The Lockheed P-38 was known by various names, including the Lightning and the Fork-tail Devil, but one moniker encapsulates its wartime significance: the Nazis' greatest nightmare. With its twin booms, powerful engines, and formidable firepower, the P-38 emerged as a formidable presence from the skies of the Pacific to the Mediterranean. Its legacy endures as a testament to American ingenuity and the bravery of the pilots who operated it.